Welcome to the AIME Classroom, 12 years on. All of you in some powerful way have been affected by AIME. So today we're going to think about what happened in that first AIME school in Redfern, not far from here, how it's grown and what it means to you. We want you to tell us how you came to AIME. Adam, when you were a very little fella, did school seem like it could offer you anything, or it was actually a place to get away from as quickly as possible?
Yeah, I found school very difficult at a really young age. I faced racism as early as I could remember, and that just tarnished my what I thought about school, and I just didn't want to be there. And education in my family wasn't important either, so if I just wanted to stay home, Mum would let me.
Not having someone that was in education as well, like no role models at the time to, I guess, look up to. No one in education to look up to was pretty hard. There's so many close calls that I've had watching people around me fall to drugs, alcohol, or worse. And I guess it's knowing that you have role models around you or people that are willing to reach out to you and actually help you. It's the game changer.
Rian, is it for a lot of the younger students particularly, the battles that are going on at home, the setting of the community that can make it so difficult to think that school is going to be meaningful for them, that they belong at school?
Yeah, for sure. I was also a student in the program, so going to AIME programs, I was able to connect with my mentor, and we'd basically just have really honest conversations about, how hard life can be and how much, going to AIME really did help going through those harder years of high school. My mentor basically just told me life, how it was, and was like, well, this is what's happening. Let's work through it together. Let's persevere and see what happens in the long run and to really achieve your goals.
Is this a big change for a lot of the young Aboriginal students that might enter the program, that they're used to a classroom that has low expectations of them? They walk into the AIME classroom and there's the music's coming out of the corner, but they meet straight away someone who really believes in them.
You can just tell, by the look in people's eyes, that you're expected to do big things, whereas at school, you're in comparison to everyone else. I know personally for myself, because I am in an advanced English class and I am the only Indigenous kid in there, it's kind of hard for me to step out and kind of put my opinion up there. But, going through AIME all these years, it's kind of just made me say, smack bang, well, this is my answer and I'm going to get up and say that, because it has given me that confidence and it's pushed me to believe in myself and have more positivity, I suppose. I kind of took that on board and said, well, because I want to do something with my life and, want to change the whole attitude of Australia as a people, it wouldn't be like that without the mentors, because I know one of the mentors was the biggest push for me, because I didn't feel comfortable with anyone there, so I just closed down.
Does that confidence grow in steps, that the deeper you get into the AIME program, the more you start to be brave enough to speak up or say what you really think?
At the start of my schooling, I was really shy. I was hardly ever there, and by the time I reached year 9 to go to AIME, I was all over it. I was the first kid to put my hand up. And if you had known me 2 years before that, you wouldn't have even sort of recognised me, or it's pretty invisible.
Bianca, how does the AIME program build up the confidence of a young person to realise that there is someone who believes in them and trusts them?
For me, it was the fact that I didn't have many Indigenous kids at school, so being able to go to the AIME program and talk to other kids that had gone through the same sort of things as me.
Was it an equal surprise, though, that you could have that empathy with a mentor, so someone that had a very different background? Did any of you have that experience?
What I love about the mentors who volunteer their time to be a part of AIME is they actually care. And for me, growing up, I thought, especially a lot of non-Indigenous people, just didn't really care about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander affairs. And for me, personally, I had a chip on my shoulder and kind of blamed those people. And when I come into the AIME setting and see just everyday people, non-Indigenous people caring and being so passionate and wanting to help Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and communities. It's awesome. It's such a good thing to see, and I never really saw that before, so I walked into that AIME.
Tom, it sounds like Adam's talking about you. Do you see that in a lot of your fellow mentors and also the people running the programs?
Yeah, and I think what I see them taking out of that experience is that ability to learn as well. I think that's what I'd add to it. Not only do they care, but once they get into the room with these students, it's just about human connection, simple human connection, and that learning that comes back the other way. That opportunity for a non-Indigenous person or an international exchange student to learn about Indigenous culture is pretty special, and that ability for the student to become a teacher as well is something that really makes it unique.
And Daniel, you jumped right into that first school. Why did you think mentoring was going to do something that the schools and teachers weren't doing?
We didn't probably think like that. It was, Jack had this idea, and we went into the school and didn't really know what to expect, but it was really powerful. You could just see the connection even in the early days, and what we were going into was really different for a lot of people. So that connection, and then being able to grow that, and then to see where AIME's now, where it is now, it's just it's really, really powerful.
Glenn, you were a principal with a whole career in teaching. Why would you trade off that to come into AIME?
It worked. I actually saw this turn lives around in a really short period of time. The beauty of AIME is in its simplicity. It's about relationships and about building one-on-one, showing that you are valued. And if you know that you are valued, that you are appreciated, that you are not judged, the mantle of negativity that often shrouds kids just falls away. And we just watch these kids bloom. It's a place for them to be themselves and to explore their identity and have people really encourage them on that journey. And I think that's why it works so well. It's a learning curve for all of our mentors and all of the mentees. So there's that cross-fertilisation of learning.
Adele, you'd been working as an Aboriginal education worker in the beginning with 5 children to raise and educate. Why did AIME add something to what the schools were already doing?
It just added that extra bit to programs. Like Glenn said, there were programs that we saw that came and went, but this is one that's absolutely there to stay and to bring our children out and for them to be able to do whatever they want to be able to do.
And as Governor Murray Bashir, you have this young man, Jack Manning Bancroft, walk again into your life. What did you see in that fella in the hoodie that made you think this could change the world?
Well, first of all, a very quiet leadership. Someone who, by his very demeanour and dignity and sense of humour, could not fail to impress other young people.
You've given your life to the care and belief in children. Your work as a psychiatrist, your academic work, Chancellor, Governor. When you look at this, does it fill you with positivity and hopefulness about the future?
Yes, indeed. And the most wonderful and privileged aspects of my life have been working with young people who didn't believe in themselves and seeing them change, turning into strong, beautiful characters who went out and gave to others. And this is what I'm hearing here this morning amongst our superb young people of Aboriginal heritage.
Like all of the reasons you came to AIME, you clearly felt you could make a difference. But Greg, you were looking at this probably having seen a lifetime of underachievement in the same sector of education. What shone for you about the way AIME was doing things?
As a businessman, I guess I always believed that logic and discipline could pretty much solve any problem. And what I came to understand was that the team here at AIME actually do use logic and discipline and evidence about what actually works. But what I also came to understand is that there's something more to really attack and solve really complex problems. And Jack used the term recently, pig-headed optimism. And that might sound like a contradiction in terms. It's not. Optimism, at least in my observation, unlocks a whole range of things. Our creativity, our imagination, The pig-headedness is really important because that also helps us to be honest about the things that don't work and to change them quickly and again move forward. So to me, that pig-headed optimism is probably at the heart of what has actually been achieved, to lead to my observation, for the first time in Australia, and that is to make a serious, fundamental, multi-generational change to the outcomes of Indigenous kids by equipping them and by empowering them through education, and doing that in a way which is scalable and sustainable. It's unique.
How do you take that pig-headed optimism and make that happen in someone who really has been forgotten? Because a lot of the kids that come to you have really been shut out of this. So how do you give them that optimism?
For what they love, for what they're inspired by, I suppose outside that education, through creativity, through music, through art, through even dance, like get them up and get them to get out of their comfort zone and push that, but in a way where it really connects with what they're feeling and what they're dealing with through that day. The mentors do want to connect with them, but in levels where it's not just about a service, it's about knowing what these kids are, what they're doing, and opening that up a lot more and unlocking doors for them.
What do you think are the crucial skills that AIME delivers that opens up someone who might be quite shut down about their own talent?
Ultimately, that they can do it themselves, that they have that, that fight inside and that passion like all of us do, to then say, hey, I have this, I can stand up and I can do it. These guys have told me that, but really I know that within, I just needed that reassurance.
Does that flow on, Jack? If you step up and demonstrate what can happen, do you see little sisters, cousins, extended family all saying, well, Jack did it?
100%. Like, I can't dance, and our students, Hannah laughs at me all the time because I cannot dance.
Charleston.
And no, no way. And so, but Hannah said last year, we have to do this, we have to step up, because if we're standing up there and not doing it, then the kids are going to be held back as well. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting up and dancing. I think that confidence is a really, really big thing that AIME teaches.
Hannah, do you see that over and over again, where the shell comes off and you see this shining new person emerge from the whole thing?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is understanding where kids' baseline is. We've got a student who can't sit in the room for an hour. And so her goal each session day is to sit in the room for the whole hour. And she might not talk, she might not say anything, but sitting in the room is building up her confidence. Shame
comes up a lot in the talk, but it disappears from the AIME classroom.
I think it's the only thing our kids remember. Every single time we talk about AIME, every kid gets up and goes, oh guys, remember there's no shame at AIME. And it's such an important thing that these kids have, because for some of them, they've got shame in every other part of their life. And, that idea of the safe space for mentees and mentors to express themselves gives these kids the confidence to go back and go, well, if I danced in front of 30 strangers, I can probably put my hand up in maths class and say that I don't understand.
Yesterday, when you came with a lot of education to see in this lucky country that there were still so many young people disconnected from it, did that shock you?
It did shock me. I was a mentor, brought this along as the history teacher, as a matter of fact, in 2007 at Alexandria Park Community School, and working there on Fridays and seeing students just turn up for the AIME program made me see that this was doing something that the school needed, and it provided another opportunity for people to connect. But the idea of confidence that people have spoken about, I believe, is also something that AIME encourages with the teachers and the schools and the community that they work with. Sometimes in Aboriginal education, people are afraid that they're going to do the wrong thing or they're going to offend someone. And just as a teacher, having another network of people that we could call in AIME and to work out how to work with our community and have that confidence is definitely something that goes beyond just the students and the mentees and the mentors. It's something that's benefited the whole community.
Viv, you were there too from the beginning, and you tutored some of the first students to come into AIME. Could you see at the start what they had not been offered, the opportunities that had really been denied to them?
The program in the beginning, I think the two things that stuck out to me was the amount of fun that was had and the kind of culture of failing, and that having fun and failing and learning kind of go hand in hand with education. And the second point's around empowerment. So I think that the school that we initially worked at was it was rough as guts, and so the kids just having kind of like an army of young university students come in and give a damn meant a lot and empowered them. But kind of to Tom's point earlier, I'm 31 now. I didn't learn anything about Indigenous Australia going through school. Like, I might have coloured in a didgeridoo or something in primary school, and then in high school it's next to nothing. So the experience for me to learn and kind of become empowered, I think that there was talk about people not caring. If you don't even know,
how can you care?
Yeah, how can you care? So that for me was, it was life-changing. After doing AIME for 2 years as a mentor, I changed from a commerce degree to teaching.
When you come to work as part of AIME, do you pick up from the youngest people that you're working with the hurt, the pain, the damage? Is that one of the first things that leaps out, that these young kids still, for all that's on offer to most children, still have a lot of hurt?
There's been a couple that have really stood out, pain and hurt, and they just don't want to be around people, around school. But I've seen AIME open up their true personality and who they truly are, and giving them confidence in being better and getting along to school and all that sort of stuff.
I sit there and I think like how the programs helped me heal in a way. It came in my life, changed my life, and if it does something to me, it makes me feel a certain way, then what other people feel is a good indication that it will be a successful program throughout the world. I think AIME has the potential to change everyone's life. I lost my brother last year. That was the hardest thing I had to deal with so far. I've changed since then. I've got a different outlook on life. I feel, it's really important for me to share that.
I think it's been wonderful to watch in AIME when we've seen people who've had a loss in the family, and yet they have stepped up to keep our families together. It's been a very powerful part of listening to one another and opening up to one another and caring about one another.
It's a big thing too in the Indigenous community. We face a lot of death and that around the families and stuff like that. And AIME being a safe place and being able to talk about it, It took me years. I lost my mum when I was 7 to drugs, and it was hard. But being able to get up there and tell my story, and then talk about living with my nan and pop, and then losing my pop, which was like my father, it gives the kids also sort of a connection. Once you know that there are people up there that have been through the same stuff as you, then it gives them the greater confidence to be better in themselves.
I think a massive thing of being able to connect with the students and the mentors in the program is by being vulnerable. I think if you leave yourself vulnerable to tell a personal story or a story that's really embarrassing, or getting up and dancing when you can't dance, like something like that, and just being vulnerable is a great way to be able to connect.
Those stories of loss and how together you've tried to get over that painful part of your life reminds me, Jake, the fellow behind the camera here, has a story. You had to step up yourself. You had to be responsible and change and give everything to those that came behind you after your loss.
Yeah, so similar in a way. I was supported a lot by people around me. Going through university, my mother was passing away, and through that time it was quite hard. Had to look after my younger brother with the help of my other friends and family as well, and while trying to work out how to run an AIME program in an area that hadn't heard of it before. And it's very positive to be surrounded by people like this.
And you had to educate yourself to pick up a camera.
Yeah. So again, everyone just took a chance on me and said, hey, you kind of are okay at this. You try a lot, and they got around me, and and that's how I moved into this position. Yeah, lots of people supporting and helped me grow.
What is your belief in AIME? You will be one of those that will carry the message to the world. Where does that conviction come that this is what the rest of the world needs?
When you look around the world, there are so many people that are in unfortunate circumstances. In the community that I first started working within, there were a lot of young people that didn't believe in themselves, didn't believe that they could make it through school and go on and achieve. And in a short period of time, We worked in that community, everyone got on board and they started supporting each other, and that started a fire. I've seen it work in an area where no one has heard of AIME before, and it's turned around in a very short period of time.
I think one of the most powerful benefits that AIME bring to the table is it's wonderful for Indigenous students, but even more so, it actually has an extension of that. For every non-Indigenous mentor that's in the program, it breaks down the stereotypes or generalisations that they may have had from the media, from whatever, from their upbringing, and they see the world through a different lens. And if we take this globally, whatever culture it is, it breaks down the barrier for the other people in that society, not just the disadvantaged. And for the rest of the world, if they can look at what AIME brings in its purest and simplest form, it's a winning formula.
Yasadai, can you imagine AIME in Sri Lanka tomorrow?
Yes, I could. Sri Lanka is a fractured country. There is a yearning now to reconcile, and people want to move forward. And I think what AIME does with that human connection, by connecting communities and communities supporting each other, is really that every single relationship represents potential to reconcile, and that's the start for moving forward for any country.
And Greg, you've travelled the world and around the world many times. Could you see this being truly powerful in other places?
Absolutely. Disadvantage is the reality for many people in the world in many different countries. And the concept that has really been fostered and developed by the team here is absolutely exportable, in my belief.
One conversation could change someone's pathway and what they want to do, and it's just that specific conversation that you might have that someone actually believes in themselves. If they don't have someone else at home, or they do have those people at home that do believe in them, but they need that push or that extra drive. I think that that's something that everyone needs to have, someone that looks after them.
So, Patrick, it's about having a big dream. Is that both personal and together? Is that what you've picked up from AIME, that you can have your own goal, but part of that can be about putting out a hand to someone behind you?
Yeah, definitely. In the beginning, of course, everyone has their own goals, they have their own dreams, aspirations, things they want to achieve in life. But then it's only when you look back on how far you've come that you realise you've had support, you've had those people that have helped you along the way. And me personally, coming back to AIME now as a mentor and working with the team, I feel that I can make a positive impact on other people's lives. I can help other people achieve their dreams, and I think that cycle can just be repeated all over the world with all different sorts of people. And I think that's another very positive impact that AIME has in the world.
I think this is the hardest measurement of AIME's success, but the one I'm surest of, because you walk into any AIME classroom like this and you can feel it, you can see it, it's palpable, but it may not come up on an Excel spreadsheet.
I think it's a very, very powerful factor in prevention that confers resilience, knowing and having others who believe in you, knowing yourself you can go forward, do something, achieve, and also contribute to others. Feeling that it can be done, the very word AIM, which in French can be translated to love, that persistence of going forward.
Jack uses the word love over and over, writes it into The Mentor, his book. Adam, does that impress you that within AIME, it's easy for a man to say, this is about love?
It's something that I found really difficult to do early on as a teenager going through school, and then even when I was working at AIME, I did find that a little bit difficult to do. But then when I did start to do it, that's when, I guess, if you just be yourself and be real, that's what the kids or young people can relate to.
What you're all describing is not merely sentimentality, it's not mushy, it's strong and powerful and real. And is that what you were saying, Tom, that it is the human? It's the human-to-human thing that happens that is quite beautiful.
Yeah, just on that, I think it's always one person to another that I think gives us the greatest impact in life. It's always that key person that inspires you, or multiple key people in your life that can give you that inspiration and instill power within you. I think we can watch inspiring movies and read great books, but there's nothing more powerful than one person connecting to another, saying you can do this.
I'm all about love, so anytime we can express that or show the kids that no matter what happens in their lives, no matter what happens in our lives, we're going to be there. And I've not missed one day of work since I've been here because I absolutely love it. and I will not miss a session day. Like, that's where my heart is. They're beautiful kids, and they have all of their stories, just like everyone around the world. No matter what they're going through at home, no matter, what's happening. We had my first month here, I had a student stand up and deliver, it was like a letter writing session, and this student got up in front of everyone, and AIME's a safe space, and she told all of us and came out, about her sexuality and things like that. So AIME, giving her the confidence to do that, she wrote a letter to her parents. And, that was very special to me, and I've never seen that before, and I was sitting up the back of the room crying, because I'm just all about that. And, this student trusting all of us to hold that information. In that moment, she stood there in front of 60, 70-odd people that really she didn't know 95% of those people. And it was just really incredible. Like, that keeps me going, that keeps me there. And, just, a whole lot of love.
If this is going to go to the world, we want to see people who have that passion do this, because these kids are worth it, and there's, we can't let them down by putting someone who's going to do it halfway, because this job is too important.